crafty friend, it's me, Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft, my world stands still. We are going to get artsy today with some watercoloring and pressing. I'm pressing out this press plate from Crafty Meraki called Songbird Serenade. I pressed it out on some watercolor paper that I had from my stash. It is so pretty and I can't wait to watercolor with it. So enough chatting, and I'll clean up my better press here, and anytime I press them out, I always mention I press out a few, because why not? My plate is all inked up, I have the paper, so I always do too. Which comes in handy because I'm going to need 2 of them for this part of the project. Now this is sped up quite a bit. I am watercoloring all of my images here today. I'm using some watercolors that I have from Altenew, and I'm starting off with a wet on wet technique. So I went in with clear water first and I'm adding on the color as I go. I'm starting with my light color and then adding my darker green because dark goes into light. There we go. I'm going to repeat that same process for every single leaf, and it's a lot of leaves. But the good news is watercoloring is one of my happy places and happy activities that I do for my own self. So I enjoyed every minute of it. As my greens dry, I'm going to work on my bird because the bird is not touching any of the green parts. Now my hummingbird is going to be my own style of hummingbird, but hummingbirds do have a lot of green and blue and brown on them. So I'm going to make the wings kind of a brown mixture here. So I'm starting with a lighter brown, and then I'm going to probably end up blotting this out so I don't miss any of those light colors, but I'll just add in some of my darkest brown, which is almost like a black, to the base part of the wings. Ooh, that Minnesota accent just came out. Did you hear it? The base. I can't help it. Anyway, and to the tail. And then I'm going to just make sure that none of this is by the green leaves because it is still wet. You can see some of my leaves there are still shiny. I'm going to move my palette around because I'm going to get to these blues next. And I want to make it green, blue, brown, just kind of a blend. So I'm just layering on the colors, keeping it nice and light, and then bringing down some of that brown from the tips of the wings and finishing up the tail. Now the reason why I didn't do the flowers right after I did all the green parts is because it can bleed together. So with watercoloring, you can be patient and let it dry, or you can take your heat embossing gun and dry it, or a hair dryer. But to me, I don't mind working in little sections, so that's what I ended up doing here on this project. Like doing the little chest of the bird, and then we'll move on to the flowers. So I'm using 2 pieces of the flowers. You can see one I left the hummingbird on, the other one I snipped the hummingbird off because I want my card to be kind of a wow card. I'm doing a 5x7 sized card, so it will be nice and big for this project. I'm going to go in with some pinks and reds and just enjoy the process of coloring these flowers. They are so pretty. It's making me get excited for summer here as we start approaching summer. You know, you get that spring fever and summer's coming. Just makes you excited, you know. Then for every little flower, I'm trying to keep the centers to be a little darker. But, you know, sometimes with watercolor, you have to let go of the control of it all. So they kind of turn out how they turn out. I am going to add a little extra highlights to my watercolors once they are completely dry with some white gel pen. I find that to be way easier than using white watercolor. I really have not mastered using white watercolor at all. So that's for another time. Just dropping on some water and letting the rest kind of bleed. Isn't that so fun to watch? Again, this is sped up, this part, but just watching the color get dropped in is so exciting. 10 points if you hit your camera. Oh, that could have been a disaster. Crisis averted, though. I really love the contrast that these red flowers are going to have with the green leaves. Red and green are opposite each other on the color wheel, so they are always looking nicely together. And I am using my little tray from Crafty Meraki that is not for watercoloring, but I figured why not pop it on this video since this is going on the Crafty Meraki channel. If you have not watched any of my videos before on YouTube, I do have my own channel on YouTube, so be sure to check out my channel, Stationery by Justine, on YouTube. I have Facebook groups and Instagram and YouTube, so be sure to check out more inspiration from me over on those places, and then we can craft lots of things, and you can share your makes with me. Crafty Meraki also has a Facebook page, so if you have any fun cards that you make, you can go ahead and share those out. If you do grab anything from Crafty Meraki, I would love it if you used my link. I have that in the description. It's going to be the one that has the ending of the URL is /stationery by Justine. So not the pictures of the products. If you use the link that specifically says Stationery by Justine, it should be one of the top links. That helps me out. So thank you in advance if you use my links. Now I'm basically creating a little speckled green, blue, yellow mishmash, if you will, on my bird. And just being frank with you and keeping it real, I wish that I would have just stopped and walked away from the hummingbird at this point, because I think I go a little too heavy-handed with my coloring on not the butterfly. Just did a butterfly video. The hummingbird. It just got a little too dark for my liking. So that's life sometimes, you know. But the best part is the press plates can be used over and over and over again, so I can make more hummingbirds and more flowers and do whatever over and over and over. Now I did get a little blob there out of the lines. No biggie. Now my panel is just blue paper, and I have my sentiment here. I used the adhesive sticky tape. And my blue panel, I did a black smudging around the outside, and that just gave a little texture. And then I did white splatter. I have acrylic spray from Hero Arts. I don't use the spray function though. Is that weird? I just use the little, the stem of the spray bottle, and I just fleck it, whatever, and get splatter. And I think it's just extra fun, especially for projects like this. Now my happy birthday sentiment is from Crafty Meraki. I used the same blue paper for the back of the happy birthday as the background of my panel. That way everything coordinated. I popped up my bird and my flowers, and then I'm going to sneak the rest of the greens underneath. That way it's kind of layered. Now this flower I did not know what to do with, so I ended up popping it up here. And it is ready to go for another hummingbird to flutter by and enjoy the nectar. That was super dramatic, but you get my drift. I'll sneak that little leaf panel in there. Super fun. Now these leaves are super cool. I am going to make some videos with just using the leaves from this set. I think it is fun to make. Not really fun, but it's a nice way to make sympathy cards using leaves, and it doesn't have to be flowers, but it can be an easy way to make some sympathy cards. Now I think my little eyeball got lost in the sauce, if you will. So I'm going to add some white gel pen to the eyeball, as well as all around my flowers. This is just going to bring a little bit extra life to my flowers. After the watercolor is dry, of course, the gel pen will not like at all. It will not like you at all if you use it on wet watercolor. Then a little bit of glue behind there, and my reverse tweezers will pinch it closed as I finish adding more and more highlights. every single place. And then I'm going to go in with a G2 Pilot 07 black gel pen and just make a little dot on the eye. Then my eyeball will look less zombie-ish with the white. Plus, hummingbirds have black eyes, so I figured it would be more realistic to do a black eyeball. But the white helps differentiate the black eyeball from the background of the card. So I'm just making sure that my white gel pen is still present. And there we have it. I hope you love this card. I have lots of videos coming your way, either on the Crafty Meraki channel here or on my own channel with lots of fun press plates. I have over 100 Better Press videos, so stay tuned and we'll see you next time. Let me know what you think about this card in the comments before you head out. Bye-bye, crafty friend.